It's been warming up in the sun for a while. Let's go finally. So the next task is we got to put these bushings in. Now it looks like we don't really need to use the press, but well, we might be able to just get it in if we just beat it with a hammer, but we'll just use the press. That's fine. It does kind of fit in there. So this is the left one, right? Yeah, because I marked it with the L here. So that just slips in there. Perfect. Okay. So all we got to do is get we got to get a washer or something big, and then press it on top of that. And that'll be it. Crossmember will be done and ready to be put back on the car. So hopefully we can get this, at least this back in the car, and like the arms back on it, okay, and the sway bar, okay, and that'll be like, and then we can try to diff today, but I don't know if we're gonna get around to the diff. The daylight's not very long, you know. All right, these are out. Okay, so before we start pushing in the bushings, there's the other side right there. It looks like it's dried quite nicely. It actually dried before the sun came down yesterday. Okay, so some dirt on it. It's definitely not the best paint job in the world. Okay, but like I said, it's gonna be under the car. Nobody's gonna really see it anyways. I don't care. Okay, so okay, yeah. So before we press the bushings in, I'm gonna flip it over and I'm gonna do a bunch of presses, or I'm just gonna shake it a whole bunch. Okay, it's not that heavy. And then I'm gonna try to get as much of the mud out of this hole as possible, because everything kind of drains this way when you flip it upside down. Okay, so I think that's why this is here. It's like a drain hole. I think there's another hole on the bottom too, so if any kind of water condensation gets in there, it goes out through these holes. Okay, and this is just kind of like a vent plug, I guess. Okay, all right, so hopefully we can get the rest of it out. All right, here we go. Okay, I'm gonna take a little break. I got my exercise for today. All right, so there it is. I kind of shook it. I flipped it upside down and I shook it, and then all of that came out. So there's still a lot in there. Okay, so I'll just keep on shaking. It's a lot. This stuff just keeps on coming out of it, man. All right. Yeah, before we put the bushings back on, it'll be heavier if we put the bushings back on. So. Okay, it looks like I've gotten the last bits of it out, at least the big stuff, and now I've been pumping air in there at the air compressor to just kind of blow out all the dust particles and stuff. So and it should be done. I blew it. There's some holes underneath. I blew it also from there also. So. Very intricately designed crossmembers. This is definitely a work of art, I'll tell you that. It's basically two. Yeah, I think what they did is it's a stamped steel is what it is. So I think they put it on a press, okay, and they bend it, and there's two parts. There's a top and a bottom. So they bend it here, and then they press the other one, and they press that one into a mold, and then they spot weld it, okay, each one. So these little circles are spot welds, okay. Yeah, they don't even weld the whole thing. There's some spot welds. There's a spot weld right here, and then they weld these tabs on and the brackets. They must have some kind of a jig to make sure all these the arm stuff or the arms mount goes on. But yeah, it's like, it looks like they take they make the crossmember, the main crossmember part, like I mentioned. They stamp two pieces of steel in a mold, and then they spot weld it, and then they weld all the other bits on, like they hold the arm on. So this is the left and the right, the lowers, and then here, and then the sway bar mounts, they weld those all onto. So it looks like they also weld the cups for the bushings on also. So I believe that's the way this the original bushings go in, is they're bonded to the steel here, the cup, okay, and then they weld it onto here, okay? So if you were, technically, if you wanted to replace that, you would have to cut this out and then weld another cup in with the bushing. I don't think they sell those replacement bushings, okay? But after like 20 something years, it still looked pretty good, so not gonna lie. All right, okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna blow. So I'm blowing, and I don't think anything is coming out. Okay, so that should be good. So now now we'll begin pressing the whatchamacallit, the bushings in. Okay, so I got my press here ready to go. I got my little stand here for it, and we'll go. Basically, we're going to do the opposite of what we did before. Instead of taking it out, we're going to just press it in. It should be easier, actually. So, all right, and I honestly, I think you could probably just get a hammer and just hammer them in too. So, let's move it up. Okay, here we go. I think I got everything all set up. I don't think it's going to take a lot to press this in there. Okay, there we go. So all I got to do is kind of hold this steady while it presses it in there. Kind of like how we uninstalled it before, you know. Okay. I don't know, that seems to be as far as it wants to go in. There's still a little bit of room in there. Let's see if we can hit it with the hammer or something. Okay, let's try to get the other side in now. You know what? Let's just try to hammer this one in. Let's see if we can hammer it in. Okay, we got the Crossmember out in the grass here. Let's see if we can just hammer this puppy in. We put some kind of grease in there so it slips right in. Maybe. I'm gonna use a Deadblow Hammer. Try to beat it in there as far as we can. Okay. The hammer worked pretty good. I'm just gonna hammer this one the rest of the way in. Yeah, that did the trick, the hammer. So that the left one is sticking out a little bit, so I'm just gonna drive it the rest of the way home. Okay, yeah, just a Deadblow Hammer did the trick. So yeah, it was much easier than trying to get it to fit in that, and I wish I hadn't tried that. It was just was a waste of time. We could damage the Crossmember too, since it's hollow. That's as far as I could hammer it in. So I think it'll be. I think once we torque it, it's gonna go all the way in anyway. So okay, I think. Okay, here's this side. Yeah, it doesn't seem to want to go all the way down. I hope I installed this thing right. It should touch all the way, right? I'll keep on hammering it, okay? Here's the other side. It's peeking out on the other side. The way it works is you got this kind of donut part here. Okay. I don't really know who makes these. I think this is a Galant VR4 group by item or something. They had these custom made or something. I'm not sure, because I can only find this on Galant VR4. Okay, and it just kind of goes like that. I'm gonna see if I can get that in there a little more. There's still a little gap in there, so sorry, grass. Don't worry, the grass will grow back. So yeah. Okay, I was able to drive it in a couple more millimeters. I think what was preventing it from going out was it was hitting the grass. Okay, the bushing was actually hitting the grass, so that's why it wasn't going anywhere. So what I did is I propped it up on my leg and then I hit it. So it did bounce around a little bit on my thigh, but I think I got it to go in a little bit more. I think we should be good to go. So let's go install this.